In this video, I've not only compiled every photo shared by NASA and the Artemis II crew aboard Orion, but I've also taken the time to break down and explain each detail so you can truly understand what you're seeing. We'll follow their journey step by step, from their departure in Earth's orbit all the way to the moon. So whether you're here out of curiosity or you're a true space enthusiast, this might just be the only video you'll need to fully experience and understand these moments. Alright, that's enough talking, let's get to work. Welcome back to another episode of the Space Community. So, let's start with the first photo. This one is really interesting. What you're seeing here is actually the exhaust plume left behind by the Artemis II rocket. It was captured from the International Space Station, and you can see how it stretches across the atmosphere and slowly fades away. What's crazy is, this was taken from about 263 miles above Earth, over the Atlantic near Puerto Rico. Just gives you a sense of how massive and far-reaching that launch really was. In this image, you're actually looking at Earth through one of the Orion spacecraft's windows. It was taken by astronaut Reid Wiseman after they completed the burn to head toward the moon. And honestly, seeing Earth like that, just hanging out in the darkness of space, it really puts into perspective how small and distant everything back home actually is. Now this is a really cool view. You can actually see the Terminator line here, where day meets night on Earth. Half the planet is lit up while the other half is in complete darkness, and that smooth transition just looks unreal from space. It's one of those views that really reminds you Earth is constantly in motion. Here, you can see an astronaut Reid Wiseman just quietly looking back at Earth through the Orion window as they head toward the moon. There's something really personal about this moment. I feels like they're just taking it all in, watching home slowly drift farther away. And this one has a slightly different feel. You've got another astronaut, Christina Koch, looking out at Earth, but with more light catching her face. It almost feels more hopeful. Like even as they leave Earth behind, that connection to home is still right there in front of them. Here you're looking at the dark side of Earth, with just a thin glow outlining the edge of the planet. Most of it is in shadow, but you can still make out clouds and faint details. It's such a different, almost mysterious view of home. And then here's Earth fully lit again, and it just looks alive. Bright clouds, deep oceans, everything so clear. You can even spot subtle light effects around it, and that tiny bright dot nearby is actually Venus. It's crazy how, even from this far away, Earth still stands out so vividly. Alright, this is actually really cool. Orion basically took a selfie in space. You can see the spacecraft from the outside during a routine inspection, with all those detailed panels and the NASA logo just floating in the darkness. It's kind of surreal seeing it, like this, just drifting out there. And this is back on Earth, the Artemis II science team working behind the scenes. While the mission is happening in space, you've got all these people here analyzing data and planning everything out, making sure every moment of the journey counts. Here you can see two members of the Artemis II science team going over the lunar targeting plan. They're closely analyzing the data, pointing things out on the screen. This is where a lot of the real decision making happens before anything even reaches space. This one really hits. You can barely see Earth anymore, just a thin crescent of light in the distance. As the crew gets closer to the moon, home is slowly shrinking away, and it really shows how far they've already traveled. And here inside the Orion capsule, everything is dim except for the glow of the control panels. Astronaut Jeremy Hansen is just sitting there, looking out the window. It's a quiet moment, but you can imagine just how surreal that view must be. Another shot inside the Orion. NASA astronaut Christina Koch working on her laptop in the dark with the illumination of Orion's control panels. This is definitely a great shot, by the way. As a photographer myself, I have a special interest in low-light photography, to be honest. It's a bit difficult to do, but will definitely blow your mind if you get it right, just like this photo. And here's another beautiful view of Earth. Just a thin, bright slice against the darkness. It's simple, but honestly, that tiny curve of light says everything. That's home from so far away. Inside Orion, you can see the crew's sleeping setup. Everything lit in this soft green light. It's a reminder that even in the middle of a mission like They still need to rest and recharge before the big moments ahead. And here's Christina Koch heading back to work after exercising in microgravity. Even something as simple as staying fit becomes part of the routine up there. It's all about keeping both body and mind ready for what's coming next. And finally, this is the moon itself, its near side, the one we always see from Earth. You can clearly make out the dark patches and bright craters. It feels surreal knowing they're getting closer to this view with every passing moment. This view is just beautiful. Earth reduced to a thin glowing arc in the darkness. The sunlight barely traces the edge, while the rest fades into shadow. It's simple, but it really makes you feel how far away home is. By the way, if you want quick, deep spaceflight updates, join our community. It's completely free, just hit subscribe and you're in. And here's a more human moment. Jeremy Hansen taking a quick shave inside the spacecraft. Even out here, millions of miles from Earth, it's the little everyday routines that keep things feeling normal. And in this one, Victor Glover is looking out the window with Earth reflecting faintly in the glass. It's a quiet, reflective moment, just him, the spacecraft, and that distant view of home. This one feels really personal. Christina Koch, just looking out the window back at Earth. You can even see that tiny crescent reflection. And here, you've got the moon coming into view through the Orion window. It's such a simple shot, but knowing they're heading straight toward it makes it feel way more intense. And this final one, just the moon framed perfectly inside the spacecraft window. It almost feels like a destination finally within reach, like after all that distance, they're finally there. Here you can see the crew getting everything ready just before the lunar flyby. They're gathered around the camera, adjusting settings and checking shots. It's a hands-on moment, making sure they capture every detail of what they're about to see. This is a really detailed view of the moon's surface. You can clearly see the massive impact basins and darker patches of ancient lava flows. The textures and craters stand out so sharply here, especially along the edge where the light hits. And in this one, you've got Reid Wiseman inside the capsule, lit by a soft light as he looks out the window. It's a focused moment during their observation phase, carefully watching, recording, and taking in everything as they pass by the moon. Here, Jeremy Hansen is focused on capturing images through the Orion window, wearing a headset and working right next to the control displays. You can see the screens glowing beside him as he lines up the shot. It's a mix of precision and timing, making sure they don't miss anything during the flyby. This is a detailed view of the moon's near side, with more than half of it filling the frame. You can clearly see the darker lava plains across the surface, and right in the center is the Orion Basin, surrounded by rings that look like ripples from a massive ancient impact. And this one zooms in even more on those details. The edge of the moon is packed with craters, while the Orion Basin stands out with its layered rings. You can really see how rough and textured the surface is, almost like a snapshot of billions of years of impacts frozen in place. This shot shows both Victor Glover on the left and Christina Koch on the right, working side by side in the dim cabin, each focused on capturing images of the moon. The lighting is low to avoid reflections, and you can see how carefully coordinated their camera work is as they document the lunar surface during the flyby. Here, Jeremy Hansen is using a camera fitted with a special shroud pressed up against the window. That cover blocks out any light from inside the cabin, so the images stay clear. It's a small detail, but it makes a huge difference when you're trying to capture space from inside a spacecraft. And this is a close-up of the moon near the terminator line, where sunlight hits at a low angle. The shadows stretch across the surface, making craters, ridges, and basins stand out in incredible detail. It almost gives the surface a three-dimensional look. This is a close-up of Vavilov crater, and you can really see the contrast here. The smoother inner area surrounded by rough, heavily cratered terrain. The long shadows stretching across the surface highlight the crater edges and ejecta, making every detail stand out. Here you've got Orion in the foreground, brightly lit, with the moon in the background. The moon is in a half-lit phase, and you can clearly spot the Orion Basin near the lower edge, a huge impact feature with a darker center and faint ring structures around it. And this one shows the edge of the South Pole Aitken Basin, one of the oldest and largest impact basins on the moon. The surface is densely packed with craters, and along the terminator, the shadows really bring out the depth and ruggedness of the terrain. This is a great moment. The entire Artemis II crew gathered inside Orion for a quick selfie. You can see all 4 of them floating close together in the tight cabin, smiling, with headsets and equipment around them. It's a rare, relaxed snapshot in the middle of such a high-stakes mission. Here's an incredible perspective. The moon fills the left side of the frame, while a tiny crescent Earth appears in the distance on the right. You can make out the Orientale basin on the moon, with its darker center and surrounding rings, while Earth looks small and delicate by comparison. And this one takes that contrast even further. The moon's rugged, cratered surface dominates the foreground, while Earth hangs in the distance as a thin crescent. You can even see cloud patterns on Earth, especially over Australia and the surrounding oceans as it begins to slip behind the moon. This is a really striking angle. The moon's rough, cratered surface fills the foreground, and just beyond its edge, you can see a thin crescent Earth. The contrast is amazing. Sharp, gray lunar terrain up close, and that soft blue glow of Earth in the distance. Here, the moon is mostly in shadow, with just the upper edge lit, revealing a dense field of craters, and right above that curve, Earth is just peeking over the horizon, small and bright. You can even make out subtle ring patterns on the moon from massive ancient impacts. This one feels like a true Earthrise. The moon's surface stretches across the bottom, covered in small craters, while Earth rises above it with bright white clouds and deep blue oceans. It's such a powerful contrast between the lifeless surface in front and the living planet in the distance. This shot really highlights the lunar surface in incredible detail. The foreground is packed with craters of all sizes, including Ohm Crater, with its terraced edges and central peaks. In the distance, Earth appears as a bright crescent, with visible cloud patterns over Australia and Oceania, while part of it is already in nighttime. Here you've got Orion on the left, lit up by the sun, while a crescent moon dominates the right side of the frame. Just beyond it, you can spot a tiny crescent Earth about to dip below the moon's horizon, emphasizing how small and distant our planet looks from this vantage point. And this one is a clean, minimal view of Earth as a thin crescent against deep black space. Only the upper edge is illuminated, showing faint blue tones and cloud systems, while the rest fades into darkness. It's a simple but powerful ending. Perspective of home from deep space. This is a partial frame of a total solar eclipse from deep space. The moon is blocking the sun, and you can see this soft glowing halo forming around it. Off to the left, that bright point is actually Venus, and along the edge of the moon there's a faint outline where Earth's reflected light is just barely illuminating the surface. Here the eclipse is fully centered. The moon completely covers the sun, creating a perfect dark disk with a bright corona glowing all around it. What's amazing is you can even see stars in the background, something you normally wouldn't catch when the sun is in view. And this one adds even more context. You can see Orion on the left side of the frame, while the moon sits in front of the sun with that glowing halo behind it. There are also a few bright points in the distance. Those are actually planets, including Saturn and Mars, visible during the eclipse. This is that final moment right as the sun reappears, just a sharp burst of light slipping past the edge of the moon. The rest of the scene is still in deep shadow, which makes that thin sliver of sunlight feel even more intense. And here you can see the eclipse from a wider view, with Orion on the left and the moon centered in front of the sun. That glowing halo surrounds it, and this is also when they were able to spot things like impact flashes on the moon during totality. And our final one brings back to the crew, everyone wearing eclipse glasses and looking up together. You can actually see the reflection of the eclipse in their lenses, which makes it feel like they're sharing that exact moment with us. Finally, we, the space community, would like to thank everyone at NASA, Commander Reid Wiseman, Pilot Victor Glover, Mission Specialist Christina Koch, and Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen for this unreal experience through Artemis II.
Thanks for watching today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for another great video tomorrow.